Probably every one of these entries has some story or another that's almost hard to believe.
Rob and Sonia Molyneux still enjoy reading the blog written by their friend Brian Wadsworth.
Brian was adventurous, but adventure always somehow found Brian.
An avid diver and sailor, Wadsworth lived life to the limit. He didn't let much slow him down until he got sick on a sailing trip in Florida last winter.
Tomorrow I begin a new section on my blog. Things have changed very drastically for me in the last 6 months.
Wadsworth was diagnosed with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. The outgoing adventurer's health deteriorated quickly. Weakening muscles, facing paralysis, Wadsworth wanted medical assistance in dying.
He wanted to still have dignity and didn't want the disease to totally, destroy him.
Once he knew there was a way out or a plan, something that would work for him, he was relieved right away.
Wadsworth had one more wish, to be an organ donor. He went through all the tests, got his affairs in order, and chose a date. Family and friends held a living wake to celebrate his life. Wadsworth had them in stitches as he told stories. The next day, they gathered at his bedside to say their final goodbyes.
And Brian's doing his best to entertain everybody, keep it as light as possible. Yet you could see the fear and uncertainty in his eyes.
In order to donate his organs, Wadsworth had to die in this hospital. Staff had problems finding a vein to connect him to a heart monitor. When they took a break, Rob Molyneux went to get him a coffee and added some Kahlua, Wadsworth's morning ritual.
And that was his treat, probably an hour before he died.
Doctors gave him the drugs that stopped his heart.
The two recipients were waiting in their own surgeries. What we did find out later is that the transplants were successful.
Yeah.
How do you think he would have felt to know that?
Proud, extremely proud. He would feel like he died with a purpose.
Brian Wadsworth is one of only a handful of Canadians who have had medical assistance in dying and have donated organs. Doctors say people who opt for medical assistance in dying could be the best candidates.
The more quickly the patient dies, the less stress the organ goes through. Patients with medical assistance in dying tend to die fairly quickly.
People die because they're given drugs that stop the heart, which means it can't be donated. Doctors also have to flush those drugs from the organs that are being transplanted so they're safe for the recipient.
They aren't circulating for any extended period of time in the body, which means that they may be present in the lungs or the kidney, but they're not built up over time where they're doing damage.
Meanwhile, the medical community is still debating how organ donation and assisted dying should be combined.
If a person is requesting medical assistance in dying, that it be a very separate conversation that comes later, not first, with a separate person to talk about the option of organ donation.
When Brian Wadsworth went through this process, his friends were with him every step of the way.
Do you want a coffee?
Sure. Can you put some Kahlua in it for me, please?
I can.
Rob and Sonia are telling his story, continuing his morning ritual.
Say when.
Just some of the ways they remember their friend.
To Brian.
To Brian.
Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.